Hello everybody, welcome back. For this stream, we're going to go ahead and dive into Bitcoin. It's been a fairly exciting week with the approval of the ETF and the top potentially here that's been placed in. You know, the question right now is, once again, if this is a pivot right here, or if this is just a pullback that we're experiencing. Now, just to recap, everything's kind of revolved around two main ideas. It's either been, this is a wave 1 into wave 2, or this has actually been a wave A into a wave B. So essentially, just to recap, once again, it's really been revolving around this being a wave 1 into wave 2, or potentially a wave A into wave B. Now, we were aiming for the low 40s, so regardless, we were expecting an impulse out of the zone for either B or 2. And, you know, price has really exceeded expectations and has gone to this high 40 level with this buy side liquidity at the 47,000 and our 1.618 scalp pull as well. So just to bring things into perspective, now, once again, it's about managing expectations here. We're trying to determine if this is a B pivot or if this is actually just a pullback that we're experiencing on a higher time frame. So there's that buy side liquidity that we're looking at, about 48,000. We engage that monthly fair value gap. And really quickly, I'll just bring up that 1618 as well. We tag that 1618 as well right there. So a lot of major areas that were struck. From a bullish perspective, there's still two ways I can see this, and we've been monitoring these two different ways here. It's either saying that we just completed that wave 1, this minor wave 1 pivot, or we already completed it. It was already completed here back in the beginning of December. And this is actually a large flat pattern that we're experiencing potentially. Because internally, looking at the structure, I can see it completed as an impulse like this, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. I can see that being a nice clear impulse. And then we get clear consolidation sideways. Sometimes that's reminiscent of a brewing flat, where this can be a sideways correction for an A wave for flats. Then we get a sharp correction for a B wave, and then we get that impulse to complete the flats. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bearish perspective here. So from our bearish perspective, this is a higher time frame pivot right here, where we just completed a wave 5 of a wave C of a wave B. There is nice time relationship with these minor degrees, this wave 2 and this wave 4. On the bullish count, it's a minute degree, but on our bearish count, it's a minor degree. I would say with the bearish count, it's fine as a minute correction. It does almost exceed expectations for timing, and it fits more of a timeline of a minor correction, which we have right here. But once again, there's nice time relationship between these two. At this time, we did put in a really strong pivot once again right here. The way we completed it was a fairly unorthodox ending diagonal, which I'll discuss shortly here in the short-term time frame. But once again, it's a matter of if this is a wave 1 into a wave 2 into a wave 3, or if it's a wave A into wave B into wave C. So we have some directional wave degree confluence coming up here because we have an impulse right here, either for an A wave or for wave 1. Then we expect a retracement, either for a B wave or for wave 2. Then afterwards, we expect to take that low minimally for either a C wave for a moderate conservative impulse, or for a wave 3, a strong impulse. The only way we know which one is which is at this point. If we have a nice relationship with the A and the C leg, and we get accepted right back into this price range, it's more likely that this is actually an A, B, C rather than a 1, 2, 1, 2. I mean, it's possible it could be 1, 2, 1, 2. It's not something that we really like to project. So truthfully, it'd be more probable that it'd be an ABC, but we can't rule out the 1, 2, 1, 2 at that point. Regardless, we have wave degree confluence. Even if we're looking at this alternative, I mean, this variation, it's the same thing. We expect to take this low one more time, just like this, for an A or a 1. And then we expect to retrace, either for a B or a 2. If it's a smaller correction in time, it's probably more likely that we're looking at this version from a bullish perspective, or we're actually looking at this right here. With a B wave, from the bullish perspective, I'd want to see it a little bit more extended in time. That's typically what B waves do. They extend more in time than wave 2s. So that would be another signal for me. But at this time, once again, we're just waiting for minimal expectations. Taking this low right here, and then a retrace, and then taking that low. And then we'll need to manage expectations again. Let's go ahead and dive into the short-term time frame. Let's take a look. Since we're already on the bearish counts, let's go ahead and take a look at it from the bearish perspective here. Let's go down to the hourly. Okay. I'm just gonna tidy things up here really quickly. All right, there we go. So internally, here's our sideways correction that we're looking at. That WXY. It could be a wave 4, or in the bullish count, this could actually be a wave A. We'll talk about that shortly. Now, I did say that this was an ending diagonal structure, and it was a little unorthodox, because internally it really is. There's only a few ways that you can see this. You can have this as a B, C, or a W, and then an X, and then a push up for a Y. You could have it as a W, X, Y, X, Z. You could even put your wave 3 pivot down here. You don't have to just deal with a flat pattern. Regardless, it's kind of a moot discussion. because the diverging trend lines were respected. Internally, it's corrective, which is what we see for ending diagonals, which is what we want to see for ending diagonals. And right after it completed, it expanded away strongly. So once again, it's kind of a moot discussion how you want to subdivide this internally, but I do see it as an ending diagonal. Once again, bringing up our targets right here, we have even our fib targets for the wave 5. And here's the 1.618 on the higher time frame that we were looking for. Right there. So a lot of confluence here that this is potentially, once again, a higher time frame pivot. It's just a matter of managing expectations. But once we take a look at this, it's a very strong pivot away. So I got a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, and we're still looking for one more fifth wave. Once again, this could either be a wave 1, or this could be a wave A. Then we look for a retrace for a wave 2, or a wave B. Minimally, this retrace, we're going to expect at least 50% retracements of this expansion. There is a nice liquidity right here, as well as a swing high that we could raid as well. Engage this liquidity, and then it's really a matter of seeing if we break this with strength or if we pivot away strongly. That will be the key indicator here. I think it's more likely that we would see a wave 2 or wave B pivots here, then move up again in another impulse. I'll discuss maybe how that could be possible here in just a few moments, because it can only be with the bullish counts, but it's something that I'm potentially aware of. That's why I have it here in the bearish count, just in case. In the micro time frame here, there's a few different ways we can see this. This could be even consolidating further, where this could be a W. Then we have a potential correction here in the middle for an X, and then a move up for Y, and then a move down. That's definitely potential. Once we take this high here, I think it's more likely that we actually maybe completed this impulse, meaning we're not going to get this fifth wave, and we'd have to force it over here. And we'd have to force this 1 and A over here as well. Structure-wise, I think it would be forcing it, and I do expect to see one more low. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the bullish count here to take a look at that. There's a lot of perspectives here I can see in the bullish counts. There you are. Okay. So once again, A wave or wave 1, just like we were looking at. However, there's potential that this could actually just be a C wave. Meaning, if we take a look at the other count that we were looking at right here, this would be extremely rare in my opinion, but once again, this is potentially an A wave. I think it's less likely it's a 2. The only reason I say that is because we're already so low, or already close to invalidation, and this was so impulsive. It's not a corrective retrace at all. It does not look like that at all. I think it's very improbable that this is wave 2. It's more likely that this is a wave A. But there's potential that this could even be a running flat, where it was an A, B, C, or it fails to take this low, or it could even be a expanding flat. It's just not as pronounced or aggressive as this one's projecting right here. Meaning, instead of it being A, B, C, like that, it's more something like an A, B, C, where we just get one more final impulse for that C wave. We'd have to move that C wave up here, and then move that wave 2 pivot up here as well. There's always potential for that too. What that means is there's even more wave degree confluence, because this could be an A wave, a wave 1, or a wave C. After all of those impulses, there's always a corrective retrace, or potentially a pivot away. Regardless, we expect a move back up from all perspectives there after we complete this move down like this. So no matter what, there's going to be some good swing positions here that you could have opportunities for. It's still unclear in the longer term time frame, yet in the medium term time frame, I do think the counts have aligned here as a pivot here, as a wave 1, which is shown, or as a wave C. It's just a matter of which one at this point, right? It's a matter of managing expectations. It'll get tricky here at pretty much once we take this low. Because once again, we expect this right here. Once we get right here, things are going to get a little tricky. But that's pretty much all I've got here on the medium-term time frame and the short-term time frame. We probably won't look at the longer-term time frame here until things clear up more on the medium-term time frame, to be honest. But as always, if you have any questions, always message me privately or publicly. Feel free to come join the Discord, and please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll catch everyone later.